Tiana. I can't hear you.
So, can you hear me? Sorry, I was making sure that I got it recorded. So if you've got questions during the sessions, please raise your hands or send us a question or unmute yourself to ask the questions. And if you do unmute yourself, please mute yourself back when you have finished so other people attending will not be exposed to the background noise. Much appreciated for that. Now back to today's sessions and about Office Practice Manager, which is now part of the GovReports packages, Savvy and as well as on-demand plans. And depending on your business structure, how you service your clients and the type of clients you have or their service requirements, the use of Office Practice Manager can be different for everyone. And you can customize your workflow and set that as a standard for you and your staff to follow. So without further ado, I will now pass on the control of the microphone over to Deb to start this session.
Thank you, Tiana. I hope everybody can hear me. Thank you very much for all being here. Okay, so Office Manager. Everyone who knows me knows that I am a huge fan. That's a picture of me, just so in case you ever see me, you can say hello. So GovReports, everyone knows that I'm definitely a huge fan of GovReports. I love it as my one dashboard where I can go to and get all of my compliance done, and I can have everything registered there no matter what software my clients use, and that's really why I love GovReports. So as I'm sure you are all aware, we have currently, there's those 5 different parts, apps if you like, of GovReports. The GovReports, which is the compliance part of the software. There is a small accounting package if you ever need a small accounting package. There's digital authentication, so again for me it's all in the one place. I can put the compliance in, I can lodge it with the ATO, I can send it through digital authentication and get it signed, and I have all of those records in this one software. Super's coming soon, I haven't seen that one. And then of course Office Manager. Office Practice Manager, Office Manager was formerly called Client Lodgement Manager. Just so in case you had used the CLM before, it's now definitely Office Manager. So it is, to me, GovReports is all about the complete reporting and keeping them all in the one place, which is really what I like. So again, as I said, no, it doesn't matter what software they've got, it's all in GovReports, and I can look and check when it was registered. For example, the other day I had the ATO come back to me, said they didn't have payment summaries. So it was really easy to go into the client in GovReports, find the details and forward it back to the ATO. You can allocate jobs and tasks to staff. If you're lucky enough to have staff to do all the hard work, you can allocate tasks to them and schedule the workflow. And if you are thinking about getting staff, this is another reason why I like Office Manager, in that you can start putting in all your procedures, all your checklists that you want things done a certain way, so that when you do get somebody else actually doing the work for you, you've got those checklists there that you can say, here, this is how I want it done, please, do all that, come back to me. Especially if, for example, you are working with any bookkeepers who aren't BAS agents, who they're asking you to help them get their hours up. So again, you can use GovReports and Office Manager in that sort of a situation. You can invoice and you can record payment and messaging, and of course there's reports as always. But what I'm hopefully going to do today is to show you how to get it set up and working, and once you then get it working and getting comfortable with it, then you can go exploring, and I'm sure you will go exploring into all the other bits and pieces of it. So this is the sign-on screen that I see. There are a couple of different ones, but that's the sign-on screen that I have got there, and you will see that the icons are there so you can pick which one you're going into. Or you might see this sign-on screen, and again you've got the Office Manager there to select to go straight into it. Or you can go through GovReports and get to it. So again, it's trying to be friendly, it's trying to give you lots of opportunities to use it. So when you use Office Practice Manager, again, there's always, different terminology with all the different softwares, and you get to need to know what Office Manager is referring to when it's, telling you in help screens or what have you, go to My Desk, My Clients. Some of them are obvious. Obviously, My Clients are a listing of all your clients. Authorized users, you can set up your team as users of the system, and again, you can allocate workflow to them. The My Desk is the main dashboard, the main screen, and then we have jobs. And jobs comprise of my jobs, job scheduling, my tasks, and then templates that you can set up. And this is where you spend a lot of your time, in that you can set up all of your checklists, and you can actually set up your year's work. I mean, if you, want to do it in January, you can go in and set up the next 12 months. Obviously, you're not going to have appointments for every client at that time, but you can set them up around the time that you're likely to have the appointment, so you can be reminded, oh, hang on, I haven't made an appointment with that client, and ring them up and put it on the calendar. You can register time billing as well, so you can put in what you're charging the client, and put your time billing in there so that you've got records to do your invoices. Because how many of us, we go and work for people and then we go, oh, how many hours did we do? Or we do 10 minutes, and all those 10 minutes add up very quickly, and so it is very handy to use that. And of course there are reports. So this is the customizable dashboard, and I actually have customized it in that I have put my jobs on the top of my dashboard in that center, and then I've got news, and then I've got outstanding reports. You'll see what the little red borders come around. They are all the areas within Office Manager that you can click on to from the main dashboard. And they are there pretty much the whole time. You can minimize them if you want more screen, but you do have them always there to jump back and forth to your different areas. And then over here where the red box has just appeared, this is the colours here, the little 9 things here. They are your apps where you want to change. So if you want to go back into GovReports, or if you want to go into digital signatures, you can just pick one of those on there. And then we have our, I've got my email address. Everybody gets to know my email address. So that's where you actually sign out. And then this little one that I always think looks like a bit like a lyrebird is where you can customize your dashboard. So you can have different widgets, and you can have what's most important to you showing on that front screen. And you can turn them on, you can turn them off, whatever you need. But it is meant to, work the way you want to work. So I thought about what are my needs, and so I have assumed that if you're a BAS agent, and even a tax agent, they might be a little bit different if you're a tax agent, but if you're a BAS agent, I've decided that you've probably got one section which is all compliance, and the other section is your practice, your checklist, what your procedures are going to be. And so I can use Office Manager for both of those areas. So for the compliance, you've got activity statements, you've got TFN declarations, you've got TPAR, you've got payment, PAYG annual summaries, and payroll tax. And again, if you are an ASIC agent, you can do that. So you might have, for one client, you might have as minimum as 4 lodgements, or you might have, 31 lodgements for each client. And I worked out that sort of on 10 average customers, clients, that, a couple of big ones, a couple of small ones, that you could have 137 lodgements a year. Now, 137 doesn't sound very much, but when we're in all the stress of deadlines, it is a lot to make sure that we have got it done. So you can plan that workflow and take your time. When we have that extension, you can take that 2 months to make sure that you get to see all of those clients. And then for your practice management, again, if you're small like me, I'm a one-person business, I can set up all my checklists of what do I do when I set up a new client? What's my plan for the payment summaries? What's my plan for when I go to a business and I see a client and they have got 3 businesses? And what is going to be my workflow or my procedures to make sure that I do all the right things for that client? So I can set up all those checklists, and anyone who knows me knows I've been around a long time, so I have checklists that I've brought with me and set up so that they suit me. Now, I develop a huge team. If that ever happens, I will be able to say, okay, team, I want you to do setting up a new client the way I like it done, and this is how I like it done. Then hopefully if they've got some new ideas, they might come back to me and say, oh no, that's terrible, let's do this. But fine, you have all in a central place. You can make that checklist central, and everyone can actually invest in that checklist so that it works for your whole team. So 3 steps for compliance process, and really, for most of them, but you need to add a client. So obviously you need to have your clients in the system. You need to add a job, a template, and you can add tasks and a checklist to that. Now you can work the jobs without tasks and checklists, but we'll talk about that a bit later. And then you obviously need to attach the client to the job or the job to the client, whichever you want. So let us begin. So GovReports, the applications are seamless. This is just a few things that I want to tell you. So any changes that you make to the client in either Office Practice Manager or GovReports, they will transfer between the applications. The main thing to know that is when you add a client in Office Practice Manager, it doesn't automatically register with the ATO. You do need to go back into GovReports if you are going to, you need to do lodgements. And that really allows you then to have all of your clients, whether you lodge for them or not, in Office Practice Manager and use the system to its fullest. So that's the first place that you can go to, what have I got to do today, and what do I need to know? I need to know a lot of things myself. So to add a client, you go to the left sidebar on the main dashboard and you go to My Clients. Then when My Clients open up and you have a list of all your clients, if you haven't used it before, they will all come across seamlessly from GovReports and they will be there, and you will then just need to go and select New. Easy so far. So here is just initially it's just a little bit of information, and then you can go back later at a later time if you need to and add more information about the client. But what you do need to add in the first place is, are they an individual or non-individual, which again you're going to know because if you're lodging for them you have to have that information. Their ABN or a TFN, or if they don't have either of those, a withholding payer number. They must be put into the system. One of those must be put into the system. And the ABN is checked. So that's really nice to know that your ABN, as soon as you put it in there, is checked and confirmed. And one thing interesting that I found out, because I have a client that has the issue, their ABN was cancelled. And so when I put it in to Office Practice Manager, it came up, yes, it was a valid ABN, but it came up with the details that it was cancelled, and you will actually see them on the screen in a minute. Obviously, organisation type, sole trader is the only one that you're going to get if you pick an individual, which I guess makes sense. And then the client reference number. Now, you can let the system give you an automatic client reference number, or if you have a procedure within your office, you can use that client reference number yourself and put in whatever you need. At that point you hit save, and then you need to go back in to edit it to add address and contact details and email and phones. And there's a lot more information that can be added on the client as you use the client and as your needs with the client change. So here is when you go back into edit the client. This screen shows you again all the information you have previously put in and then gives you all your contact details so that you can put those all in as well. And then when you select the client, you have these interesting areas, and this, if you have used it previously when it was the CLM, you will notice that there's a couple of new areas, and one of this is the checklist and the other one is the engagement letter, which are really important things for us as BAS agents. I mean, the TPB recommends that we all have engagement letters with all of our clients. So this checklist that is in here currently is you're able to tick, what are you going to do for this client? So again, if you interview the clients and then somebody else is going to do the work, it's really handy to put all those ticks in the places that, yes, we're going to do bookkeeping and we're going to do BAS, but we're not doing payroll, or it's not a TPAR client. So that information really makes sure that you're passing it on to your team, because it is very easy, certainly with my brain, I think, to know some information but actually forget to pass it on to the right person. Then we've got the engagement letter. Now it is currently a standard engagement letter that you can put some information, but if you have your own engagement letter that's different and you want it in there, currently that's not in there. But this is a great one as a basis. So at least you do remember to get some sort of engagement letter before you see them that first time, or to give them some information that first time, which you can then say, well, look, you know, this will be changed once we find out what your needs are. So I would really encourage you to, you know, have a look at that and see whether you can, you know, have that use for it in the beginning. So here we've got my client, Intimate Paradise Weddings. Again, I'm just showing you the checklist, so pretty much you just go down and tick whatever it is that you're doing. We've got the engagement letter, as I mentioned. Then there's billing settings, reminders, file notes. Now, file notes, you can add file notes, especially if you've perhaps had to take over for a client and you want to put some information in there. There's file notes and there's attachments. And then as you'll see here, this is where we've checked the ABN, and in fact it has been cancelled. So I have to do something with that client with their cancelled ABN. So we've added clients. The next thing that we need to do is to create jobs and create task templates if we need them, and then add checklists to our templates. Now, if you have been using the CLM and now you're going to be using the Office Manager, then you will notice that the template area is the area that has most changed. Apart from the look, the templates area is probably the most changed area from what the CLM was. It really is easy to get round once you sort of get into the flow of it. So you can create job templates for all your compliance needs. You can name them however you like, and you can create job templates for all the procedures within your practice. So you'll see I've got some there, obviously end of year payroll, it's a big thing. SuperStream, set up for my clients. So that's a reminder that, you know, I do need to go and do that, which, you know, I have done it already. But things like stock take, training for Simpler BAS. Simpler BAS is coming along. So I want to make sure that I mention it to all of my clients. Now I might, for some of them, make a special appointment once I know everything about it to pass that information on, or I may just, you know, it might just be simple as sending them some information. But those templates are there to remind me those jobs so that I can make sure I service my client to the best of my ability. So there are default task templates, there are custom task templates. So the default task templates, there's three templates already in there with jobs, tasks and checklists already attached to them, and you can use them as the basis for other jobs that you may create. You can create your own custom task lists, and again, all the procedures and checklists that you've had and used over the year, you can put them into Office Manager and use them. Your job templates, so again, what sort of jobs are you going to be doing for the clients? You can set those up, or what sort of jobs need to be done within your practice. Recurring job templates, so therefore for ones that you could set up, I mean, it could be as easy as a BAS and you say 4 times a year, and so that when you attach it to one client, they immediately create 4 jobs quarterly. So again, it's about and this is where I'm saying you can set up your whole year in January. Give yourself a time, and then as it gets closer, you can go in and put the dates of the actual appointments. Okay, so to go to the job template, again, you're going to the side toolbar that says My Desk, My Clients Authorized, and you get to Jobs. You click on there, and it comes up with My Jobs, the scheduled jobs, My Tasks. These ones are already set up, and then I click Templates, and I get my different templates that I have the choice of. And so I can click the job template, and then I can go in and start creating my job. So I go to Jobs, I go to Templates, I click on the job template, I select the new button, I select the job name, and I can put the deadline dates, the priority, is it a high priority, is it a low priority? Obviously the priorities help, because if you go in there in the morning and you've got 5 jobs and one of them is high priority, probably that's the one that you should do first, not the one that you should avoid. So here is, we're in job templates, we hit new, it comes up with the job information, you're putting in the name. So this is my typing, and you'll see how slow my typing is. So again, I can put in the billing method, you know, am I going to charge for the hours, am I using the client's rate, what's my scheduled dates? So I'm going to do this, I'm giving myself 6 months, well 5 months left, to train my clients about simpler BAS. Now it can be just as easy as doing that, and then you can decide whether that template's only for you or you're going to share with all your team members. And so then I've saved it. Now obviously I'm going to do things separately, but you will be able to do all of these things together as one. Oh, okay, it doesn't want to do that. Thank you. Okay, jobs can be used, as I said, with or without tasks added. So if it's a simple job, you might have ring 20 clients every day for appointments, then you could just have that as a job and you don't need to have tasks with it. You just attach it to the clients who you want to ring and give it to, if you have a receptionist, then you give it to the receptionist, and that's, what she's going to be doing that day. The task templates enable your practice to have set procedures for the job completed. And then the checklist is all the little things within that template. So you click on the job that you've already got, you then select the plus button to add the task heading, and then you name the task and add the description and save. Now again, you could do all this at once, but I'm just going to do it each separately, sort of to give you an idea. So I've already got my training for simpler BAS because I just created the job, and as you can see, that's where I can attach clients. But I'm going to my plus button because under my tasks, I have no tasks and I want to put some tasks. So I click on my little plus, I go add tasks, and I create the task name. So my first group of tasks, if you like, or my task headings is contact client for training appointment. Now again, I'm actually going to have 3 parts of that task, and I am going to create them. So at the moment I could again just have that there, but I'm going to show you how to create a checklist, if you like, on that task. So with the task templates, you select edit on the task heading, you select checklist, you select add checklist, you create the task to be completed, and you keep repeating steps 3 and 4 until you've done all of those little tasks within that heading, and then you save. So here we are. We've got already the contact client for training appointments, and now I'm going to add 3 parts of that one task. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to download an ICB business information statement about Simpler BAS. Now obviously you need to be a member, but I am, so I can. Then again I'm going to add another, and I'm going to email my client the business information sheet. So I've prepared my client for what I'm going to tell them. And then I am going to, let's see, what am I going to do? I'm going to contact my client. So I've emailed them, I've got the business information sheet, which is going to give them some information. I have email my clients the business information sheet, and then I'm going to contact them and say, well, first of all, did you read it? And then I'm going to do that. And so once I've attached these jobs, I can then go down, as I do all those parts of that task, I can tick them off as completed. And that's really the essence. It's not only creating the checklist and the jobs, but actually ticking them off so that you know that you have done the jobs. So that, you know, if somebody says to you, oh, you know, where are you up to with that client, you can look at Office Practice Manager, see where the task is and see what parts of it are completed. So the default task templates, they're the ones already created. There's those 3, the BAS preparation checklist, an end-of-year guide and a payroll end-of-year checklist. Now, as I mentioned before, you can add those on and have them as your basis to either add more tasks to a different job or just to use them as the checklist. So it's a matter of when you go to the edit job, you go up to where it says select template or job, and then you select which one and you hit copy. So here are some custom tasks. So this is where you've put your own tasks. So this is where I've set up my own. So for example, I have quite a few clients who, when I go to their site, they actually have at least 3 data files. So what I've done is I've done a checklist so that I remember to do all of those things in each one. You know, because you can go bank rec, but no, I want to remember that I've got to go bank rec A, bank rec B, bank rec C. And so yeah, I would really encourage you to add all those tasks that you normally do in there. So here is me using this. So I have got default task, I've got a job named end of year payroll, and so I'm going to pick the payroll end of year checklist and hit copy. Now I've had other tasks in there, so it's going to confirm, do I want to overwrite them? But what I would do normally is I would add that and then I would go and change the different tasks. So now to see those tasks, I click on the tasks still on that job information, and you see the headings of the tasks that I have created. And that's just a matter of just pulling it in from one that you've previously done. So here it is, and when I go to the tasks, now here are all my tasks there ready for me to use when I attach it to a client. Now the recurring job templates work exactly the same, look exactly the same. The only difference here is down here where they have the frequency. How many of these jobs when you set them up do you want to make? So in this case it's a quarterly BAS lodgement. I've said it's quarterly, my start date is March, and my frequency is I'm going to make 4. So if I attach that to a client, it will make 4 for the next 4 quarters. And so it's a great way of getting, you know, a lot of your planning done for a big period. And of course you can assign it to different members of your team. So then we've got adding the client to the job. So we've got the job, we've got the client, And at the moment, they're not talking to each other. So obviously, when we do a job, it's going to be for somebody unless it's for our office. So the idea is that you want to add it to the client. Now, you can do it via templates or you can do it via the client. And then you can add a reminder that's put on the calendar. Any questions you think we want to answer at this point?
Sorry, Deb, I've been trying to answer the questions that has come through. So, yeah, it's been all covered.
All right,
unless someone else has questions.
Oh, yeah. No, that's all right. I just didn't want to leave you, out there if I was talking too fast. Okay, I can move along. All right, so adding the client to the job. So basically, you can add it to multiple clients. So what you can do, which, like at the moment, we're obviously doing our BAS for December quarter, but say you wanted to plan March's quarter. So what you could come in here and do your BAS lodgement, and you can just select attach clients, and you can attach clients in a batch. You can just tick everyone who you are going to do that BAS lodgement. Now, it will start at the day that and I've got the 31st of March. So that means that I know I've got to go back in and make appointments, but it allows me on that 31st of March to go, okay, who do I have appointments for out of these 10, 20, 50 clients? And so you go to the job template, you select the job, you go to the actions column over on the right-hand side, you select attach to clients, all the clients are displayed, you tick who you want. Now you will then see them in today's jobs, depending on the day obviously, or upcoming jobs, again depending on how early that you do those. Or you can just add a single job to a single client. And you can then, of course, even change the job so that if theirs is slightly different, you're going to do two things at once or something, you can obviously customize it for that client. So in this case, you go into the clients. You go to My Clients, then you select the client that you need, and you go over to the bars on the right-hand side, and you click on those, and then you get Create Job. Now, when it says Create Job, you don't have to type it all in again like we've just seen. You can just go and pick one of those jobs that you have already created and just copy it to the client. Now, again, if you did want to create a new job for that client, that's the only client that you're going to do it for, then that's fine as well, and you are able to do it. And again, it then, if you were doing it for today, it then goes into your today's jobs. And you can find it there on that front toolbar, the dashboard. Then you want to add the reminder to your calendar, or you just want to generally add a reminder. And there's 3 different ways that you can do that. You can go it via the client. So again, you go into the client in the reminders and select that plus button and add it there. You can attach it via the templates. Again, see the little dots, and you'll see that one of the jobs there is attach. Does it say that? Yes. And then, I don't think that doesn't say that. And then attach via the toolbar. On the main toolbar, and it is on the main toolbar no matter what screen you're on, you have your business name, you have the little apps, dots for you to pick. You also have a little bell, and that is a reminder. If you select that, you then get this screen that says client reminders, and you've got the choice for client reminders, job reminders, or task reminders. So again, you can get down to very minute things that you need to be remembering, or just the client's jobs. So here we are again for Intimate Paradise Weddings, and I need a reminder because I need to remind my client that for whatever reason her ABN isn't registered, so she needs to do something about a new registration. And obviously we would then need to investigate what happened to her. So again, how long before my appointment time do I want to be reminded about that? You know, do I need to make a phone call to her? What do I need to do? And then I just save that, and then you can see there it is under sitting under reminders on her name. But you can also add them to the calendar, as I said, and so here's a calendar with, you know, our next the next 2 weeks worth of work that we've got to do. So that is what the calendar looks like, and again, that can be on your dashboard. I actually have mine dropped down. I've got my jobs as the first thing that I want to see. So then it is a matter of actually doing the work. It's all very well to do all the planning and everything, but we actually have to do the work, and so therefore we have to, you know, we want it to be useful, so we want to use it. So doing the work, you might open GovReports and then the Office Manager. You find the client and the job that you're doing, and if you're at a client's, of course, because it's the internet, you can just, you know, dial into GovReports, get the job up there, and then as you do the tasks, tick them off. Or obviously, if you're in your own office, you can have them on, you know, I have GovReports up most of the time. So here I've got SuperStream. I just use this one because obviously I thought, you know, we've all done this. So here we are, and I'm doing this for the client, and I am just ticking off everything that I have done as I complete it. Now, if I've done all of those things, I can just hit mark as complete, wants me to confirm it, and it changes to green. Now, the other way that you can do it, as you see, is if you look along each line, they do have mark as completed, or in fact, you can delete it. So if, for example, for this particular client, you don't need to do that job, you can always just delete it. And then what you might have noticed then when I just did that one, when there's a group of 4 and you complete them, if you do the first one first, it drops down. So again, you're only looking at that top line of the ones that you haven't done. So it's a great way to go, you know, okay, what haven't I done? And it's really very obvious because green, all good, gone, and then the blue is still open and you need to do it. So it's a really easy way to work, and it's a really easy way, I think, sometimes to go, look, I have done all these things today, and you can very easily see the jobs that you've completed. So, Tiana, is there any questions or anything that you want to mention at this point?
Sorry, I've been answering questions, so I'm not following very much, but if there's any questions, perhaps at this time, anyone has any questions, perhaps it's also to raise with us.
Okay, all right. Wonderful. All right, well, the only other thing that I really wanted to mention today was about your own office procedures. So obviously office procedures for a staff means that everybody's doing everything the same way. And when we have compliance and when we need to make sure that everything, you know, things aren't missed, it's really handy to have office procedures and therefore to turn them into checklists so that you can give to new people or, you know, all of us to make sure that the business is running well. And the same thing, that if you do have office procedures, that you get your staff involved, invested in these office procedures and giving you, you know, recommendations to change. Or if they find things don't work the right way, you know, because with this software it works differently, then being able to, you know, change those office procedures to incorporate them to make sure that everybody's, you know, got the best way of doing the work. So as I mentioned, I did suggest that, you know, maybe you have some company procedures, like how, you know, what is the process you do for hiring staff? And you might have part of that job of hiring staff that your assistant does A, B and C, then you do the interviews and then you delegate to the third person, but when the new person starts, they're their buddy for the day and show them around and give them a bit of training and again show them the office procedures, how to work the software that is used within the office. So those could be very, very much, and obviously set up over time, even safety procedures that you could have. And again, they could be set up as a checklist so that someone else has that job to check and see that it actually does flow. You know, if there's a disaster recovery, not that we want to think about that, but, you know, what happens, who do we contact, those sorts of things. Those procedures can be set up as jobs with templates done for them. And the same thing as the other one I thought of was the setup of a new client, that you remember to do all those things. Especially with a new client, you need to get authorizations for lodgements and for putting on the, adding to the portal or adding to the GovReports. So you need all those. Or if you're, you know, using payroll tax, do you have the authority to talk to the payroll tax people? Do you have the authority to talk to their accountant? Do you have all those details? So all of those procedures can be worked out before you're, you know, before you've got a client and you go, I've got to do it. It gives you a chance to have all those for us all to look professional as we go in to the clients with those procedures and go, yes, yes, let me just tick off my piece of paper. Well, not my piece of, my computer. And again, the option to remember to review the ATO and the TPB's changes because things are happening. And so it is, you know, a good idea. So here I've got one for hiring an employee, and the tasks that I have set up, perhaps you might all laugh, but, you know, decide on the necessary skills for the position. You know, check the award for the new staff member. You know, have you made sure that you've got the Fair Work statement? And the advantage of this, as you'll see here, that you've got file notes and attachments. So if, for example, you do have a Fair Work statement, you can have all those authorities attached to the GovReports tasks. And so then if I'm out and about, say for example the authorities for a new client, if I have all those forms that I want the client to sign, I can take them from my attachments, put them through digital signature. Dear client, please sign these and send them back. They can send it back through the digital authentication, and it's all here, and I've got all the proof that I need. I can add the file note, you know, emailed client, and again my digital authentication comes up with when it was emailed to the client. So those sorts of things, you know, giving an employee the company policy and any code of conduct that you run, or an employment sheet to get their personal details and their tax file number and all those things that we have to get. And as I said, when I've got a new employee, to organise somebody to be their buddy for the day and for them to go through all that procedure. So those are the areas that I think that you can use it, as well as for client lodgement and all your workflow that you have to do for clients. So a lot of things that we do are repetition, and so we need checklists. I always bring up the same thing, is that in the 2 weeks after the 30th of June, all I do is payment summaries. Of course, this is going to change with single touch payroll, but currently all I have done in that 2 weeks is pretty much payment summaries. So you might see 3 clients, 4 clients in a day, and you're doing the same thing at each of those clients, making sure their addresses are there, making sure this adds up, making sure that reconciles. And I have known that if I don't have a checklist, by the time I'm doing it the 3rd time, I'm going, oh, have I done this for this guy before? So having those checklists, having those jobs in the Office Practice Manager makes it easy, because you can just have them all there, know what you've got to do, tick them off when you've done them for that particular client. So I would really encourage you to have a go at it, and certainly if you are doing the Savvy, I think it's a Savvy Agent it's called these days, all of that is part of what you're getting with GovReports. So it's there for the using, and I know that Tiana has some information about what's coming and what's sort of going to be changing, and I know she's going to talk about that. So I would really encourage you to use it. As I said, I am biased because I love it, and I love GovReports, as I said, all in one place. So apart from Tiana going to give you some information, is there any questions, Tiana, or do you want to just tell us all what you were going to tell us?
I guess I will take more questions from people. I have been answering questions for those that have been sending us questions, but anyone else has questions. Alex Cremati has a questions. Alex, do you want to, he just sent a question through. Are standards, checklists and templates already available in the GovReports? Yes. Yeah. Deborah, I'll let you answer that. Yep.
Yeah, no, because I mean, yes, available in GovReports. They're all there, aren't they? They're all the standard, the default ones are there for everybody.
But we also have the options. I think previously, I think when I vet the application before we release, I requested our developer to remove the customize option, so now they have to put it back on. So you can customize your own checklist. The checklist that Deborah showed you earlier, you can basically amend that or customize it, complete your own, and create it as a template going forward.
Oh, you're talking about the client checklist. That checklist.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. No, I thought you were going to tell us some things about what's coming in the future as well.
Yes, Deborah, I just thought I'll answer the question first before we going forward with the what's going to the future. So yes, and job templates are also some default job templates. Most of the default job templates are there, but you can customize your own. You can also use the existing default job template and customize that as your own with the additional features or additional tasks that you might want to add to your templates that your business might want to as a standard going forward.
Right. Okay.
Any other questions? I think that I left one other questions that have been unanswered. Okay. This is from Ali Cochran, and once you set up a task that you want to have on a recurring basis, or that has been covered by you during the sessions, Deborah. Anyone else has any other questions before I go into forward with our what GovReport has in mind and what's coming in the coming months?
And I just see a question from Miriam while anybody else is writing questions about time tracking. You can absolutely track your time, and I'm sorry that I didn't show you that, but you can absolutely track the time that you're doing. When you've got a job there, you can put a start and an end time in there to make sure that you can charge the client the right amount.
So there is another question. Is there, from Susan Delarue, is there a limit to staff members using Office Practice Manager? There is none. As long as you have added them as an authorized user to GovReports, then they all can get access to Office Manager. Yeah,
so it's great to be able to give different jobs to different team members. And even team members can then set up their own jobs if they, say one of them specialises in one software and another specialises in another, so they could, customise those templates for that particular software, and they could be their templates. So I think that's an advantage as well, Tiana.
There is another question relating to time tracking, Deborah from Kim. Can time tracking be exported or printed?
Well, I'm definitely going to ask you that because I haven't tried it.
Yes, you can export the time tracking and be able to export it, and also it's in CSV. PDF, sorry, it's in PDF, and you can also print it that as well, because it's in PDF, you can download it.
Yeah. I must say I tend to have two screens on there, and when I'm doing my invoices, and yeah, so I sort of, you know, use a mixture. So yes, I haven't tried to export it. I guess I'm still a bit manual, so I'm trying to make sure that I become much more digital.
Any other questions?
I don't think so. I think you've answered everything.
All right. So I think, well, going forward, as we, you know, this is our more or less our first year of releasing Office Practice Manager. So our developers are still working on the features, more features. It's of course when we release them, it will not affect you. We will notify that these changes there are new features available, but it won't affect your workflow. And it's of course, if anything, it would just add on to your panel for access. Of course at the moment, the boys don't want me to confirm which features we are going to release, simply because it put the pressure onto them. But certainly, one thing for sure is that, as you know, Office Practice Manager should be the front end, and we are going to, we want you to start using these, so that get used to it. As time go by, we are going to merge that completely, or basically make that as your front end, so that you start the job, because lodgement process, GovReport lodgement process, is actually when you have finished or completed the job. And that's, like I said, by the end of this year, Office Practice Manager, or the features of Office Practice Manager, should be the front of your when you log into GovReports.
Cool. Yes. Is there anything else that you want from me, Tiana, or?
Okay, well, that looks like we all covered, and we will have the follow-up webinar in April, which is, I believe, at the moment is scheduled for April 7th, and we will have a more advanced versions, perhaps with the working of it and the features, the other features that we're likely to release by that time as well. So for those who were, we hope that you start using the GovReports, and there are more advanced versions of the webinar will be available for those that are interested later in April. The reason is we want to put it a little bit forward in April because of the March conference, conference, ICB conference, and also other conferences as well. So hopefully that will fit everyone's agenda.
It's the 5th of, Wednesday the 5th of April, I've got it as, Tiana. And the other thing is, if everybody at the ICB conference, if you do have feedback and you want those questions covered in that later webinar, give them to Tiana or me at the ICB conference, because we will be there. Or Tiana will be there at everyone, won't you, Tiana?
Yes, I will be there. Love you all, those. Can't miss that. We do have another few questions. I think it's one from coming from Kim regarding the super. Kim, we have been holding it back because there hasn't been much demand for super functions from GovReports, simply because most of the if people are using software, they would have that as part of their payroll software or so. So we haven't had much demand, and for that reasons we decided to hold back. Simply, it's easier on our application and also support from us as well. So perhaps we'll see how that goes. And you are the third person that have asked me for this. So like I said, it hasn't been much demand. If we see if there is a lot more demand from everyone, we will reconsider the options of releasing super. Okay. And thank you, Leanne.
Yes, thank you, Leanne. We all love GovReports, Tiana. That's what it is. So that's why we're here.
Thank you. All right. Well, just winding up, this session has, for those that was not able to listen to this this session has been recorded and we'll be posting it onto the website as well. We will sending it to you as well, if to you and those that have missed the sessions. yeah, if there's any questions, just let us know. Also, if we miss anything, yes, either contact myself or contact GovReports office or Deborah, or well, not Deborah. I would hope she's not going to be annoyed with all your queries, but send it to us, and if we can't answer, we'll contact Deborah as well. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, Tiana. Bye, everybody.
Bye.